So I will press this, and after the loading screen is done, I will give you a countdown and we will start the timer.
So we start in the City of Thieves. It's kind of like a prologue introducing you to the main, I don't know, the basics of what you're supposed to do as a goblin in this City of Thieves. The biggest thing that's important that I don't know if any of the other runners do it, but something that I do is a little goblin runs by, and I've named him Eduardo. And to ensure a good run, you have to say hello to Eduardo and wish him a good day. I'm trying to get this to stick, so just Tohelot will do it for you, just so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay. So, 3, 2, 1, and let's go.
There's Eduardo. How you doing? I hope you're having a great day. Here we go. This first level is actually kind of a... it's easy in the sense that there aren't a lot of strange mechanics. It's pretty straightforward. You just run to the end. But at the same time, it makes it kind of hard. There's a lot of really weird little jumps. The first one coming up right here.
Части со странными прыжками.
I can't tell you how many times I've fallen on that, and it kind of just ruins the run. Then you have to jump into this fire and jump up, which can also knock you down.
И сейчас такой небольшой скипчик. У нас... Ну, короче, там сложно зацепиться за этот угол, но мы прыгаем с вот этой бочки с огнем. И вообще мы подбираем, и нас может уронить. Но, типа, если это сделать чисто и спрыгнуть, то получится очень хорошо.
Retry certain aspects that can be a little bit annoying. Right
there, you see
he hit that stool, which is the reason that he ran out as opposed to not. And it can be a little tricky, annoying sometimes. Again, it's all pretty simple mechanics, but because of that, I feel like sometimes it just makes it weird. Because I don't know. What do you think?
Дальше просто плавно пробираемся туда-сюда. Ран не сколько даже про стелс, а сколько про мувмент. Тут очень приятно карабкаться, прыгать туда-сюда. Игра такая паркур-бейзик, базированная на чем? На паркуре.
Completely different place than you meant them to be. But at the same time, it also allows you to manipulate them in certain ways, to get them to run certain ways, do certain things, and we're about to see that. Another interesting part about this run is you have to pick up components.
Команда для расписания мероприятия — это восклицательный знак
insect eggs, amber, different things that you have to do to get different abilities that you use to speed run and break this game. You know, clip through walls.
Тут немножко нужно пофармить, собирать всякие ништячки для обилок.
Like bare bones, we have invisibility, and we can make clones of ourselves. But just basically, we are gonna power up the Styx. Styx as a character, and we can have more tools.
Они нам понадобятся для power-up'ов.
Yep, and you really don't get into some of the what I consider the more fun parts until the second and third level, because like again, this is kind of just a tutorial where you run through, and again he decides.
Комментатор говорит, что по моему мнению, 3-й и 4-й уровень самый веселый в этой игре.
Here you get to see the first use of invisibility. You run in. It makes you a little bit more stealthy, but people can still hear you. And you get yourself and get to the
первый раз используется невидимость, но на самом деле уже второй. Она еще в начале использовалась.
Most people who are speedrunning are probably aware.
Но, видимо, в начале она, так сказать, это была немножко сейф-страта. Ну да, вот Styx умеет становиться невидимым.
In between a lot of levels, you're either in a hideout or on an airship where you can get your skills. Right there, Toe just picked up a skill that makes his amber usage, which is the yellow bar, go a little bit slower, so he can stay in invisibility longer, which is super useful when you're having to manage certain aspects of this game, especially because with those mechanics, you can then start to use your invisibility for minor screw-ups that you might have, or times when guards hear you a little bit too much.
Тут можно, так сказать, очень более активно эксплуатировать невидимость за счет прокачек.
Go into the games as normally because we don't have any things to play with at the moment, and we are very fragile as a character. Even though we have a full health bar, couple of sword hits or dagger throws is gonna kill us. So we are trying to be as
сейчас
sneaky as
Styx
possible.
очень слабый, ему надо качаться. Он может отлететь буквально с 2000. Это реально даже не шутка.
It's not that new. The current world record holder and Toe have both used it.
Что, в принципе, нормально для стелс-игры. Ей не надо тащить. Вот. Если вы в стелс-игре, как там Splinter Cell Conviction, гасите всех с автомата наперевес, или там добиваете, или как там в Хитмане начинаете устраивать расстрелы. Это неправильно стелс. Такие игры должны, наоборот, ставить вас в неловкие ситуации, из которых вы должны выходить при помощи своей смекалки. Именно такие штуки очень крутые.
Pretty good way to go under. It's almost a little bit easier. And you can see here, depending on the save mechanics, it can be really nice to have quick saves at certain times. Now the tricky part is with the stealth games is that you cannot quick save when you're under suspicion. The red and the orange alerts don't allow you
игры вообще на ГБК обычно, ну вообще любят, наверное, брать новые игры, но проблема новых игр в том, что их типа проходит большое время, чтобы там рано устаканились, потому что там постоянно находят какие-то новые страты. И ран, который там буквально через месяц после выхода, он может очень сильно отличаться от рана, который будет через год. Поэтому игры должны немного устояться. А уж в новом рейвеге там очень большая конкуренция.
And I can't tell you how big that was for.
Спидран Апекса был вчера, когда Апекс весь упал и не работал. Вот это был бета-эндинг и не процент.
If there is not an alert,
так что такое уже было.
Or you're doing an action, you cannot save the game. So when you're saving a game, it also changes like the guards' behavior a bit. Like it resets them to
like original positions or different positions. Because the guards do move on pretty set schedules that can change based on whether or not people
Тут можно ресетать игру, и это влияет на позиции стражников.
Especially in some of the older runs, there were certain people that you had to assassinate and things like that, where if you assassinated them in the wrong places and things like that, guards would react a little bit differently. I do want to say one thing about this game is that it is gorgeous.
Стражи могут немного рандомную реакцию давать от того, что ты убиваешь. Не там. Можно себе подружить немного.
Was just, I don't know, it's beautiful, a game in its own right. Even if you're not a speedrunner, I think it's one of those games that's just worth playing. You got a little trash-talking goblin running around, messing with everything. I mean, what more could you want? And you get these beautiful views you'll actually see coming up here. One of my favorite views in the whole thing. When we're climbing between two spaceships, which, it's just so cool. It gives me chills every time.
So, coming up is the diplomatic vessels. It's the only airship level of the game, basically. And
тут такой стимпанковый довольно уровень, воздушный.
our route includes a lot of it, so it's still pretty manageable.
Единственный уровень, собственно, на воздушном транспорте. Тут просто вообще на пофиг идем.
He doesn't need any abilities, he just uses his amber. So it's one of those things that he's kind of like innately
Используем.
one of his skills that we did we see
Ну,
that
в
in the
общем-то,
prologue? Sometimes you can use
это
it,
часть
I don't
уже
use it.
Ранее
Yeah,
очень
this
быстро
view just
прошел.
between the ships, it's gives me chills every time. I love it.
Игнорируя врагов, да.
It's kind of
Так и
scary, I
нужно.
guess, if you don't like heights, but
Не заострять
I'm into it.
внимание на противниках. Это бесполезная трата времени. И вот ресурс
This
пофармить, это
level's kind of
самое
interesting
оно.
because the guards, you don't worry too much about alerting them this time. You just kind of run straight to a
Очень
checkpoint.
интересный уровень.
So here he puts his clone,
Можно, в
moves
принципе,
towards the end goal that will be triggered once he uses his
всех
clone to trigger another
стражников.
event. Here we go. The free running clone.
Ну, тут, в общем-то, пофиг на всех стражников. Ну, там они видят, можно спокойно убежать, и на этом уровне вам ничего не будет.
Yeah, so there's a chance that the guard will draw a dagger pretty early, and since we are using clones, they need just one hit to be destroyed. So that can happen sometimes. It's unlucky.
Мы тут используем клонов, короче. И стражники могут, короче, кидать кинжалы, что они сделали. Поэтому они убили Стикса, так сказать. Так как мы использовали клоны, мы все равно еще прошли этот уровень. Да, но Стикс отлетает очень быстро. Игра похожа больше на... Я не знаю, на что она похожа, это стелс игра.
So, we are gonna upgrade ourselves, and first time we are gonna actually craft things. So we need both cocoons, and we took an upgrade, which allows us to create cocoons, and also
не то чтобы очень
if we have a
похожа.
clone active, we can teleport to it, and you will see soon more toes.
The other
Да,
thing
мы
that he
можем
built
еще
there was a little
расставлять
dart that you can use to either kill a guard outright or interact with certain things, knock things off
врагов, чтобы
ledges, which we'll also see a
расставлять
little
клонов,
bit.
чтобы телепортироваться. Но вот мы не телепортировались, а использовали
This
клон для
level
дополнительной хпшки.
introduces us to the first big skip of the game. Of course, with the routes, there's interesting time savers, but this is the first big skip that gets us into what made me fall in love with this game, and that is their skips, which I'll get to as we get to it. Another new route that has been recently used is this lower route. It seemed like we
Ну, это, кстати, довольно недавний раут.
things where there are some routes just running along the ground which allow us to maybe go a little bit faster. Because if you can see, you kind of catch on ledges, and there's a moment's
Можно
hesitation.
не карабкаться, в
anytime we
принципе,
can
а
get rid of
просто
that,
дальше
that helps.
бежать. Но мы пока по-старому, походу,
But
идем.
ultimately, you end up in the same spot.
Yeah, we just take different ingredients. We used to craft in this level before, like after the hideout, and have an extra raw amber. But now we take the eggs and unstable spore.
So here we... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, here we come to the first big skip.
Ну да, тут нужно, короче, для предметов для крафта собрать.
You jump out. Oh, didn't make it. It's hard because you have to hit it at the right angle where your cocoon goes through.
И, в общем-то, можно разные предметы для крафта собрать.
Body gets all the way
И
through the
будет
wall.
окей, то есть, собственно, этим рауты
Like Fesco said, the cocoon is smaller than our body, so we can throw it to the small gaps. And here we are. first
И мы
out of bounds.
можем тут
And sorry in
закинуть,
advance, sometimes the out of bounds will have this
дойти до первого ОБ
So if you are,
Для этого нам нужно кинуть
hopefully it isn't like
яйцо
too
с
bad.
клоном, оно
This
как
is
бы
what we
поменьше,
call
мы его кидаем,
Welcome.
и там же появляемся. Мы тут можем видеть игровую логику, мы можем пройти по игровой логике. И этим взаимодействием с ней мы ее меняем. Ох уж эти новые игры, где просто разработчики делают всю логику просто визуально с края карты. Я такое видел, по-моему, еще в Wolfenstein New Order. И оно взаимодействует с хитбоксом игрока. Это прикольно. И мы просто идем, как бы просто выключаем этот уровень, накодили себе выход с уровня.
And it's just a fun interaction between clipping into like out of bounds areas and finding ways to creatively get yourself to those tables, and then not having to do the specific objectives, which can sometimes be tedious and fickle, I guess you could say. Not always very uniform.
Yeah. So now we're gonna use our bolt for the first and the last time of this run. And we're gonna drop the bell on top of this guard. Beautiful.
The interesting thing about those dev tables are that while we don't use them for every level, for a lot of them we do know where they are. It's just they're not always feasible or easy to get to.
Да, на самом деле в новых играх загрузки большая проблема. Какой-нибудь смотришь ран, там, скажем, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, и представьте себе, там просто постоянно слушаешь эту дурацкую музыку из загрузки.
But there's only so many you can get while still going fast.
I'm gonna use my backup amber here because I'm not healthy goblin, so I'm afraid of the daggers.
It's always you always gotta be
ранее использует бэкап, потому что говорит, ну, не очень хочется сейчас кинжал в спину получить.
As you start to go farther and farther, there's a lot of guards that can basically one-shot kill you. And it'll just instantly end your run. There are some that are easier to deal with, some that are pretty much, you know, if they see you, you're dead, which can be pretty demoralizing if you're pretty far into a run.
Yeah, if you like stealth games, this is more like compared to the first two Assassin's Creed and Thief games, other than the newer versions, like you can do things, but you are...
Ранее говорит, что если вы любите стелс-игры, это нечто среднее между играми серии Thief и Assassin's Creed. Так сказать, такое дитя этих двух проектов.
We do this kind of trick. So a couple of years ago, when I started to run this game, there is a subreddit for Styx, and somebody pointed out that they got through, tracked it through the floor, right here.
Очень забавный ключ через НПЦ. Начинаем спускаться по выступу. Нас вытягивает НПЦ и затягивает прямо в ЛБ. Мы снова ломаем игровую логику. Он опять это делает. Бежит по скриптам. Где такое видно? Это даже там не выполнение арбитражного кода, а это реально какой-то рофл.
On scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the easiest and 10 being the hardest, I think there's like maybe 2
Забавно,
or
что
3
игра
just
позволяет
like,
делать такую штуку.
practicing some throws, and that's basically it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's all these little tricks that about positioning your bodies in certain ways. As you can see, he jumped to the one side. You can also get the trick to work from the other side, where Toes found that it's easier to get it from that side. And yeah, so here's another database jump that's about to come up. I believe you were telling me that back when this first started, this was a much longer level, and having this database kind of skipped out on a lot of it.
Yeah, so the normal way to do this, you have to find the body in this level. And the body will be spawned randomly to the 3 locations, and if
Тут
you
еще
have
на
bad
уровне
luck,
надо
it will
найти
take
тело
up to a minute
определенное
to get to
по
the body
всему.
and clear the mission. But because of the database, we can factor out the RNG part of the
Ну,
game,
мы
and
просто
it's much more
кликаемся
speedrun friendly to play.
и нарушаем эту
The fun
базу
thing
данных.
is, as I was saying earlier, these maps are kind of reused in a certain way, and we'll actually see that same exact skip used on a different level, except this time there's nobody in that section of the level, where this time we had to skip by guards. Later on, it's just a kind of unused part of the level that you kind of just run to, which is great. Very fun. This next level coming up is our first introduction to Robies, which are these bugs. And it can also be a little bit annoying. You can see that Toe grabbed a few more skills, and those skills help him with evasion, which are going to be big because these Robies shoot.
Хотя это даже,
I don't know,
по сути, это где-то даже половина игры.
And this will allow you to kind of not take as many hits. There were some times where, depending on how accurate the Robies were, you could just die on an otherwise good run.
Главное особо
take away some of that
не огребать.
Another fun thing about this level is there's a lot of texture to a lot of the ledges, so there's a lot of ledges that you can catch on that you might otherwise not want to. It's usually not that big of an issue, but it can be a little bit annoying when you're going real fast. Styx talks about how things can take you higher here.
Очень приятный
and it always
уровень.
reminds me of that Creed song. The can you take
Просто расслаблен.
and that's all I think about.
Да, паркур на самом деле очень клево выглядит за счет анимации вот этого гоблина, они очень прикольно сделаны, он так все время дрыгается очень инертно. И
donations, we can take a couple of them.
We definitely have donations. We have $25 from Zamu, who says, I've been watching GDQ for years, and I'm so happy and excited to see my friend Tohelot as a runner. Best of luck for your exciting run. Thank you to everyone involved with this amazing event for making the world a better place.
Дальше уже
we just have so many donations here. It's great. We have $20 from, I'm not going to say this right, but I'm going to try, Stuart Kelly, who says, nice to see finish runner here on GDQ. And I'm not going to get this right either, but Torile? Good luck.
Проходим это при помощи инвиза. Возможно, это, кстати, даже не обязательно проходить с помощью инвиза, но раннер, возможно, решил подсуетиться. Ну, да, тут любая тычка может.
And we still have a ways to go on that Pet the Dogs incentive. We still have just over $1,000 that we need to raise before that run happens. And we don't have a lot of time. Nintendogs is not a long run. So if we can aim to get that met by the end of Styx, that would be incredible. Please, just put in your health cushions really quickly for me and see if you can scrounge up a few extra dollars to help us get those dogs pet. Anything helps.
Helping dogs.
Definitely. I think that's a very noble cause. If not for the goblins, let's do it for the dogs.
Yeah, so that was the scary part of the run. after the beginning, which was not so great, but I'll take it. Here is gonna be another out of bounds, and Fesco can fill you in what's going to happen. or what would normally happen.
This is another time where we're going to use the cocoon to hit a random ledge that's built onto the side of these levels, which is always just so fun.
Тут очень на этом уровне забавный такой скипчик. Очень маленький ледж, он просто сумасшедший. Вот кинуть вот это яйцо, на котором можно заспавнить циклоном, оно очень маленькое, короче, пространство, и тут можно просто спокойно закарабкаться вообще на челе.
So here we are basically jumping blindly because for some reason these rocks are not solid, but you cannot see through them. And normally you would have to fight a Queen Ruby here, and you would get quartz, but here we are at the database. It says get quartz here, but we don't. So if we actually want to get that quartz, we have to kill the Queen Ruby like legit way. And quartz is like this even more powerful and pure stuff than amber is. And with that, we could, in theory, get better skills at the skill table. But since we don't get it, we don't.
You just picked up a few more skills that help you not only assassinate people a little bit better, which will be useful in a few missions, but also that help make you just a little bit more silent. As you get farther and farther, you get these skills that allow you to not trigger the guards as much. But an interesting mechanic just in the game itself is that they start to introduce guards that can smell you. The dwarves can smell the goblins. So even though you're getting all these things, until you get the skill that allows you to be less smelly, the dwarves can smell you out. So it's something that you do have to watch out for. Luckily, there's only one.
Тут появляются всякие новые враги, соответственно, которые могут учуять по запаху гоблинов. Поэтому надо быть осторожным.
You don't get the skill that hides your odor, but you can get the formula to having that like perfume.
Oh right, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing basically.
It's an item.
Yes.
Item, skill. Either way, we don't use it in this run. In some of the other runs, I do believe that you use it. In the New Game Plus, I believe that you used it, right?
Yeah. It's because, well, it's a New Game Plus and we have everything we need, so... So here we are, naked as a rakash, and we have to get just out of here. We will be coming here again. Later during the run, there would be an out-of-bounds place and a way to get to the database, but because this is such a short level, the end goal is basically there, and it's much faster just to play it normally and not use our resources to get out of bounds.
This skip that's coming up was a great find because you used to have to run through this whole level, do a couple different objectives, and you had to rely on an AI to run across the map to get to a certain point. Every so often he would get stuck because the AI, I guess, isn't smart enough to get across certain bridges or something like that. But it's a really fun skip because, as you'll see in a second, we get to drop somebody about 4 stories down.
Искусственный интеллект игры не очень дружит с некоторыми мостами. Может тут застрять.
Don't worry, they're completely okay. They're very limp.
Yeah.
But again, just looking at those sceneries, I just, you get a nice visual experience while you do your best to ignore it. I think that's the hardest part of the speed run. Instead of looking around, you have to, you know, just get on with it.
Yeah, you have huge playground to play with, and well, casually it's really fun to play. Also, I think we haven't mentioned this, but you can play this in co-op as well. So if you have buddy, it will be double as fun, right?
Говорят, что можно в игру и в коопе поиграть. Нет, прикольная штука.
Especially in other categories other than any percent, there's a lot of open availability for it. I think we just had our first co-op run submitted, right?
Yeah.
Which is really fun, really exciting. And even in any percent, right now the world record's right around 31:30, and I'm positive that with a few adjustments and a real good run, we can get it below 30, and I'm excited for what
Рассказывают о том, какой хороший ран World Record в этой игре. Хорошо оптимизирован. Рекомендую посмотреть. Да, в общем-то, мы этот ран смотрим. Он пока что тоже хорош. Особенно та горящая коробочка в начале, которая получилась с первого раза. Не каждый раз дается. Хотя вот когда гоблина зарезали метательным кинжалом, было неудобно.
Hoarding amber, and it's being made from goblins being ground up or something like that. Styx is the only talking goblin that they know about, and so there's this whole thing where Legends trying to take down their city.
Зачем воровать мужиков?
Затем. So there's a lot of intrigue.
Это Styx, тут надо.
Right up now. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, just like allying with the enemy kind of scenario going on here.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend at the moment. Here is a new skip. This used to be another assassination mission, which was kind of fun to do, but at the same time long and fickle. Here, we find ourselves going back up to a place that we've been before when we were on Korangar. This is the place that we started out. And this database is actually behind this door. And to get to it, we need to use 2 cocoons.
Тут надо завалиться в одну дверцу, и мы снова клипаемся.
And then, if you get the right spot, you can then throw another cocoon and...
Похоже, у раннера не очень получается.
Now, I say that, but it's much easier said than done. You have to be pretty precise about it, and especially on the second one, where you're pretty much just inside a wall.
Очень точный скип, кстати.
It's a little bit of a guessing game on where exactly you need to. The nice thing is you can have an audio clue.
Там очень сложно угадать.
When you materialize on the other side of the wall, so you know.
Есть, короче, аудиоподсказка, которая позволяет немножко прикинуть.
The good thing about this game is that even though I am currently
завалиться
playing with the controller,
сквозь эту стену.
I aim with my mouse with those very precise throws because it helps a lot because aiming with an analog stick is not very nice.
Рэй говорит, что он с геймпада играет, но целится все-таки с мышки. Когда надо целиться, он использует, подрубает мышку.
Yeah, and so sometimes, depending on where you land on your first one, you can get yourself into kind of a mess where, because it's not super precise that we know of yet, and it's really hard to see exactly where you are, you might not be in the right exact spot. So we finally clipped through, and here's one of the times where we use this feline drop, which reduces the damage. Otherwise, you would die when you did that. Again, what he said, there's the blinding light that happens, which is very strange, and I'm not sure
определенные штуки включить, потому что если мы просто пойдем уровень включать, то нас убьет.
It feels weird, but
так что важна очень последовательность.
It can be very annoying and very painful to the eyes.
Yep. So, coming up, the Labyrinth of Passage. Normally, if you play this game, you have this... first of all, the Dark Elves have kidnapped us, Heledrin and Styx, and we are dragged to this Dark Elves ritual place. And to get out of here, you have to pass 6 tests. But this is where
такое место дальше следует темного ритуала.
I was like, no, I'm not having any of this, and tried to search for out of bounds. And actually,
ранее снова крафтит эти
then I was, oh, okay, I can go just end of the level, and so I did.
Для
And
всяких
it
кликов
does
на
trigger the
понадобится
like
место.
cutscene that the level is ended, but it doesn't actually like boot you out of the level. You are still in the level. And so another runner named GOBLIN found that, yeah, here's the database. We can just hit a couple of buttons, and this is basically how we kickstart to find these amazing places.
It's the common sentiment amongst all speedrunners of the work smarter, not harder.
В котором мы просто путешествуем по расчетным граням. И можно закинуть, после того, как забраться в определенное место, там стена не очень твердая, поэтому можно закинуть в нее кокон.
Also fun about this is you're running along invisible walls and you're catching on invisible ledges, which is just kind of goofy that it's there. As you can see, I mean, some of these walls and whatnot have no substance. But then there's also invisible walls, so it's kind of interesting that there's the two different kinds.
Стены, короче, не имеют коллизии, но при этом есть невидимые
стены, and air that you cannot.
So coming up is the same missions we did earlier. So if we have like a couple of donations, we could take it here.
Absolutely. We have $10 from Ahmad who says, "Hey Tohelot, best of luck with your Styx run. The whole Finnish speedrunning crew is cheering for you. Just remember, walls are just suggestions. Go through them and give us a good show." I'd say you're doing that so
загрузки уровней просто идет.
We also have $5.86 from CPT Sise who says, "Let's donate to pet the dogs. So little money needed, but so little time left." And it's true, we still need over $1,000 to meet that incentive. We do not have a lot of time, but I know we can do it. We've already collectively raised over $100,000 for charity. We can definitely make the next 1,000 happen and get those dogs pet. And we also have $50 from DudeMaster47 who says, "I want to see the dogs get the pets that they deserve, and possibly even more just because they doesn't like petting dogs. We can make it happen." So please keep donating for that one. We're getting closer, but we do need to keep making it work. We don't have a ton of time left. I don't know how I'm going to sleep at night if I know there's dogs going unpet. Please, we need your help.
I think that's a common sentiment for us all.
И, кстати, раннер, похоже, руинит стрим опять. Клипы довольно сложные, понятно.
Here, once again, we're finding ourselves in a very familiar skip, but this time there's a weird difference, as we're about to see. So the interesting part is you're dropping to the same thing, except this time the platforms or the buttons are raised. So you have to make sure to hit it. One of the most annoying things is because you have such a short jump, you don't actually make the jump. Luckily,
Как же мы их ломаем?
First try, but it can be a very, very annoying jump.
Yeah, you have to jump at the very end of the.
Тут очень сложные прыжки, потому что можно свалиться и не залезть туда.
Yeah, I don't know why they raised maybe an.
It's one of those things that makes me wonder if they meant for people to get there eventually, and it was just like, they'll probably think this is weird. Let's do it. It'll be fun. Because I can't think of any other reason why they'd be raised. Then again, I don't create games, so I can't assume to know. Maybe that's just a normal thing that happens. This is a fun little reroute that happened. We used to wait for this ambassador to come all the way around the level because we were scared of what might happen. But now we just come to him and kill him, and then we plant a letter so that the dwarves and the dark elves, they start a war with each other. Because who doesn't love a little bit of political subterfuge? Because another interesting thing about this is that for the longest time,
этот уровень был немного сложно раутить. Ну,
gotten invisible,
тут все, в принципе,
you would kill that
достаточно
dwarf.
просто сделали.
And the secret was
Убили
just to run away from the dwarf.
убили одну цель,
Because when he
подкинули
fell down, he
письмо и
could knock you out
устроили
of
войну
invisibility.
между двумя
And it saved a
фракциями.
lot of headaches because it's such a simple mechanic, but sometimes those simple mechanics just save so much turmoil, and it's another one of those things that I love about speedrunning.
So here is a hunter's village.
И говорят,
We
что
have to start a war between dark elves and
даже
dwarves,
простые
and
механики в
we're
спидранинге
sabotaging
могут
each other, so they think
упросить
they,
очень многое.
well,
И
start
это здорово.
how war. And here is just a level we collect 3 bombs, so we can collapse the dwarves mountain, which we'll see in a second.
This is another time we get to use our clones so that we can skip having to climb all of our way back towards certain parts of the level, which is just a really nice mechanic.
Тут очень много карабкания в этом уровне.
How many times do we want to do something on one side of a level and then have to run all the way back, which really hurts? This clone really gets rid of a lot of the issues. Right here, he's trying to pick up these bombs.
Этот уровень, кстати, имеет немного иной темп, нежели предыдущие.
This kind of gets us towards the end game. There's not much left after this. Again, this is another reroute that saved us a lot
он, в
of
принципе,
having
открывает нам
kind of run
путь
by a
людей.
bunch of dwarves.
Тут не то чтобы много после него осталось.
Which was really nice.
Yep. Also a shout out to the guard who is watching absolutely nothing. Nice talk you have there, mister.
Hey, I'd take that job any day of the week. Especially if we've got these crazy acrobatic homicidal goblins just running around, going invisible, throwing cocoons at people.
Акробатика пошла.
I'll watch nothing.
Очень жестко.
I'll not take the risk.
Гоблин так и норовит взорваться.
So that was the level. Coming up, we are going to go to the mountain, the goblin prison, and here is 2 ways you can get out of bounds: the old way, which is the water wheel way, and the new way, which is using the goblin prison part, which is now unused, but we are going to go there. The wheel water way is a bit trickier, and you have to use you have to upgrade sticks so you can craft cocoons on the go. The downside is that you are making a lot of more noise.
Yeah, and the water wheel skip is very, very cool.
It's there.
Yep.
Вот тут детектив, кстати, еще сильнее на этом
and then
уровне.
all the way down in the level, clipping through walls. But I do think it's much harder.
Но мы тут очень много будем
The
кликаться.
timing difference is not that much, especially considering how hard it is to get through it, and all the materials you need to collect on the side to get it, right? Because you do need the extra materials to build more cocoons.
Но, как бы, чтобы нам клипаться, нам все-таки нужны коконы. Поэтому надо немножко пособирать. Просто весь раут это гринд до самого конца. И мы гриндим, в принципе, на нужное дело.
And this can be pretty frustrating as well.
Yeah, it's there's like invisible collision that's much lower than it seems, so you have to. It is somewhat precise, but with practice, it's doable.
Yeah, and you know it's another.
В общем-то, большую часть раны можно так описать. Собираем ресурсы на коконы и клипаем тут с помощью них. Или просто забираемся в труднодоступные места. И, как я уже говорил, очень много типов, они достаточно точные, настолько точные, что раннеру приходится Целится мышью.
It's one of those things where
Хотя он играет на
just aim it and
геймпаде.
it goes right through. Other times you have to aim it over and over and over, and it just doesn't seem to quite work out for you. Especially because you can't fully see where it's landing.
Yeah, that's the
Which
problem.
might make it a little bit easier since you're going into the back of a cabinet corner. The nice thing about this is you don't have to worry about parts.
True. If there is donations, we can take them here. Hopefully it doesn't take too much time, but good place to use them.
Целиться мышью. Как так можно? Берешь и целишься. Без задней мысли. Просто подошел, отошел, кинул. Загрузил сейф, отошел, кинул.
We have $25 from QUART who says, "Do it for the
Отошел,
dogs."
подошел.
And that's in all caps, so please do it for the dogs. And we have another $5, this time $5.55 from CPT Sisse who says, "Pet the dog. Let's all donate $5 to get it done." Chat, nothing would make me happier than seeing a $5 donation train to pet the dogs. We really do need your help to make this happen. If you are fortunate enough that you can spare $5 for charity today, please do it now. Put it toward petting these dogs. We're getting close, but we do need to
раннер должен попасть.
And I would be so sad if we have to tell the runner that they cannot pet the dogs. Please don't make anyone tell them that. That would break our hearts. We also have $50 from WhereChip who just says, "Styx, yay!"
Покчам получилось.
So finally we got through.
Он прошел. Он сделал это. Сложная штука.
You can make some kind of like memorization where to go and where to throw the cocoons like roughly, but I don't know, it feels kind of random at times if it goes through or not.
Сложный слипчик-то.
Sometimes it's just a feel of the thing too, where, like I said, sometimes it goes through first try and you barely.
О, господи, визуальное программирование. Это, конечно, что-то. Почему они оставляют эту фигню просто за уровнем? Ну, это же, я не знаю, детский сад. Ребят, у вас блокнот есть. Вы что?
I mean, yeah, nobody's watching. Just a couple of persons. Anyway, we are coming at the end of the run. Here is final boss of the game. Well, I say boss, but it's more like an obstacle course.
И это конец рана. Мы приходим сейчас к финальному боссу.
Database skip. There is an interesting mechanic about this, and we'll see if you get it.
Кстати, такие же скрипты есть в Вольфенштайне, в Колоссусе еще даже. Нет, в Олдбладе даже. Насколько, так сказать, уровень программистов велик в нынешних разработках игр. Мы тернули деврубу с порталами. Там, по-моему, в оригинале всякие деврумы в духе клона Думга, который там что-то делает.
One more try. How your computer is at the moment? Is it like running on fumes, or like if it's 600 FPS, like if it's really loading or not? Normally you cannot save your game at the end start of the level, but so if we get it right, it saves the game and you can reload the game and then the boss is just despawned. But unfortunately we didn't get it, so sorry Illuen. He's another runner who found
Тут был способ, короче, получить предмет и босс бы при перезагрузке сейва он просто бы диспавнился. Но ранее не получилось, ему придется нормально проходить.
A lot of heartache for when you get crushed with a big boulder or shot with a laser mouth beam, as you're about to see.
That's why we crafted a couple of extra cocoons, because the golem is only one who can break the bridge for us, and if we don't have the golem, then we don't have the bridge.
There's that mouth beam.
And the mouth beam is the only one who doesn't which doesn't kill is one shot. Everything else in this level will kill us in one shot, which is not nice, obviously.
И все в этом уровне, кстати, убьет ваншотнет игрока. Абсолютно все.
Also, there's a nice little epic soundtrack that goes along with this that I don't know. I believe that you guys can all hear it.
И до стимейта осталось всего ничего.
It really gets you in the mood.
Раннер уже напрягся.
Hopefully not too loud. So yeah, the time is coming soon. Like when we get the end of the level, it is time we will say it.
End of the level.
It's right there.
Again, he used one of those amber
вырубаем анвиз на прожекторе.
He'll smash you with his hand there, and just to make sure that you can get to this weapon. And that's what the reason that we kind of pick up a lot of them through the way that we go.
Опасно. Опасненько.
So time is coming up. And time.
There we go. And that's Styx Shards of Darkness.
Это время. Раннер-то молодец, уложился в стиме, плотненько. Клапа.
Giant rock monsters, and I believe this giant rock monster is powered by quartz, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Seriously.
My memory serves me, but if it doesn't, then it's okay.
Well,
забавная игра.
It was awesome doing this.
Hey, thank you, Fesco, for co-hosting me. I hope you enjoyed Styx Shards of Darkness as well. If you're interested, it is at the moment on sale in Steam. 5 coins, whatever is your currency.
Раннер говорит, вот, чуваки. Надеемся, вам понравилась эта игра. Если вас она заинтересовала, она там типа... она там типа 79 рублей в Стиме. Сейчас по скидке.
I'm gonna skip this because it's so loud. Can I get the final time?
50:16 was your final time.
Oh, it was still nice. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the event and stay
это как раз первая часть.
It's really important.
Good final message.
Stay hydrated. What a great reminder from an awesome run. I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. We have definitely been getting more donations in chat. It's amazing. I looked over at our Pet the Dogs incentive and we're now under $750 away from that. But we do need you to keep donating to keep fueling this train and get us across the finish line.